report, I do have a question. I wanted to ask you about what, I've read this stuff. I'm just curious, what is the status on, I know Westport Golf Course is supposed to be going to auction, so that's what they're talking. Can you give us an update on, do you know anything more about the Westport Golf Course?
We have two small loans, one with the golf course and one with what's called Westport Hospitality. They were made out of the loan, the grant that the county had received when the bridge had closed down. We had made, I want to say, a $50,000 loan and a $25,000 loan to those entities. There are outstanding balances on both of those loans. We were notified by the trustee probably a couple weeks ago, I think, that our mortgages on the property would be waived in this bankruptcy and foreclosure. So our outstanding balances, which for both loans may be around $35,000, we would have to go after the loan guarantors, which I think there are 3 loan guarantors that we are now proceeding against. So whatever happens with the potential sale of it, we are kind of out of that.
Do you know what the amount of debt is on the first mortgage?
No, I don't know exactly. I'm getting information on that. As of Friday, in Albany Federal Court, I'm being told, yes, that basically John Hall is out of the operations, and his brother and sister are going to be taking that over around the 15th of this month.
Is the golf course being operated now?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's being operated now, and the press release, from what I understand, is going to be that they plan on keeping it open for the rest of the year as far as weather permits, and opening full operation in the spring.
Because I know you have an auction. The auction doesn't cover our debt. You're going to be chasing somebody.
For sure.
How about the Normandy Beach Club? Same situation,
Same situation, correct?
Anything happening there?
No. A repayment schedule was offered to the court. That was our last update, which was about a month and a half ago, and the court has not approved the repayment schedule yet.
How about the, I'm just curious as to Ty Kaiser Road, the meet. Didn't we finance that?
We did.
And
Yep.
how is that going?
It's going well. Yeah, they're up and operational.
Any other questions for Jody? Yes.
I have a statement in regards to IDA's relationship with the proposed distillery in Crown Point on the former Agway. As I go by this morning, there was a team of contractors there, so that there will be a lot of activity at that site. Things are aggressively moving forward. I want to thank IDA and the other agencies that have worked aggressively to promote this and to assist the new owners.
We have a lot of interesting projects going on around the county that we haven't announced yet, or it's not our place to announce yet, but some really...
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's, I don't even want to mention it, but each community has some really, I mean, if you drive by and you see activity, then you know that something's going on.
I assume that most people knew that the former Agway.
We all know now.
I've been told there's a sign on it for 2 months.
When's the press release?
Press release is in an hour.
You might have heard.
Anything else for Jody? Thank you, Jody.
Thanks.
Community resources? Mr. Mascarenas. Do you have a couple of resolutions?
Yes, sir. We have a couple of referrals to the planning board that we'd like to start with. We do have 239M referral from the town of Ticonderoga for the Air Methods Emergency Medical Transport Facility. The facility is not within 500 feet of county property, and a letter of no comment is recommended.
Somebody want to move that, please, Mr. Moore? Second, Mr. Martin. Any further discussion on the resolution? All in favor?
Okay, we have another referral from the town of Westport regarding a special permit application by Mr. Matthew Brinkman. The request does not have an adverse impact on county property, and a letter of no comment is recommended on that as well.
Moved by Mr. Tyler, seconded by Mr. Morrow. Any comments or discussion? All in favor?
Thank you. I do have a couple of resolutions. The county received a grant award from DASNY with the assistance of Senator Little in the amount of $100,000 for the purpose of the nutrition project. The grant requires a resolution from DASNY verifying that the county will budget for additional funds that will allow completion of the proposed project in 2017. I have attached a resolution request and the sample resolution they're looking for to my report.
Motion moved by Mr. Tyler, seconded by Mr. Depot. Any further discussion? All in favor?
We also received an additional $10,000 in a legislative grant from Assemblyman Steck for the nutrition building. Well, this will be used particularly for the coolers and freezers, and I'd like a resolution passed to apply and accept that grant through Office of Children and Family Services.
Resolution moved by Mr. Morrow, seconded by Mr. Martell. Comments or discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Okay. Moving on quickly to Bridge New York, those applications were due Friday. We did submit applications for 4 communities within Essex County, and I know that Mr. Dugan up at the Highway had done a couple of applications for county projects that I'm sure he'll talk about at the next meeting. Summer food program has come to an end. This summer, we serve 6,785 breakfasts and 10,857 lunches throughout the county. That's a really great program for those communities that have it. I'm sure recognize just how important that is for the young people throughout our county that may not get up.
You know, I know others have been questioning this, but I've been questioning how do you qualify for that program? My understanding is it's an income-based, community income-based situation.
We can do it.
Explain that.
I can absolutely explain that. There's 2 ways you can qualify for this program. One is that you're deemed by the Department of Education to be an open site. So what they look at is your enrollment throughout the school year, and if 50% or more of your student population receive free and reduced lunch, you automatically qualify. We have 3 or 4 communities that do automatically qualify. Closed sites is all about the participants in your program. So the students that come to your summer program, if we were to get a list of those students, we could then qualify you that way. If 50% of those people that are attending receive free and reduced lunch, you can qualify that way. The difference is in an open site, anybody 18 and younger in your community can attend, whether they're at your youth program or not, and eat that day, where with a closed site, only the people that are enrolled can actually eat. That makes sense to you. But very easily, if we took your attendance from this summer and got that letter to the school and said, can you just let us know, or do 50% of these kids on here receive free and reduced lunch, you could tell within a day or 2.
And do we have the capabilities of taking on more?
We certainly do. The state,
What I see here?
yeah, the state, The trouble for us is in the staffing. We have one person that travels the county, is required to train all the cooks and individuals that work at the program, and they then have to make site visits a couple of times a year, and our county's large. But other than that, the money's available, and it is...
So who funds it?
It's probably 90%, 95% funded by the state of New York. We make up the difference if there's any overages, which typically there is not. From time to time, there is a small amount because it all depends on the reimbursement rate from the state and whether the cooks can stay within the meal times rate formula.
Yeah, we run ours through contractual agreements with the employees. We don't put them on as town employees. We do contracts with the director, and then we have contracts with the staffing, and it's worked well.
Absolutely. So the issue is you have a food program.
Ours is an open site, I believe.
Yep.
And I think it's also important to understand that the county doesn't know about the family's income. It's really based upon what the school records reflect. And if they meet the 50% rule under the school records, then they're either open or closed site based upon that.
That's it. Basically, we supply a roster to the school. The school writes us a letter, basically says the roster you supplied over 50%. They don't tell us who they are. They just say yep or no.
Thank you.
Yep.
That was my question, Mike. The schools do not have to bring forward the names of the students. They just have to give you a number.
Yep, that's
So at
correct.
some time, if they're audited, then the program has to go back to the school for verification of who the people are.
That's correct. Yep. And the state knows. The state education department absolutely knows who they are.
Reported directly from the school to the state.
Yep. Yep. We do have a youth board meeting here tonight. We've got quite a few people that are going to attend. It's at 5:30. I did attach this month the fair schedule of events. I had a couple of you request that at the previous meeting, so I'll start adding that into my report, what events are coming up there. Other than that, I don't have anything.
Any other questions for Mike? Next one.
Thank you.
Aurora, are you here? Yes, you are. How are you?
Good morning. We are winding down our summer season at the museum, and I just want to say that I was very pleased with the success of our 2016 programs and exhibits. The art gallery especially has been an amazing addition to the museum. So I'm just so pleased. We do have a couple of fall events still coming, so I wanted to mention those. The first one is a donor and patron reception, which is an appreciation of our supporters. It's scheduled for September 23rd from 5 to 7. I hope you all got your invites, and I hope you can come. The evening will include a guided tour of all our exhibits and a special behind-the-scenes tour. We have also one school scheduled for a fall fire tower field day. That's in late September, and that will close our education program for this year. We do plan to offer it in 2017. We also have a great workshop scheduled for our Historians Day. We are collaborating with Wilmington Historical Society, and we will offer a cemetery conservation workshop on October 14th from 9 to 4. We have a presenter coming in, Joe Faranini. He is a conservator of at Gravestone Matters, and he will speak on preservation, conservation, and restoration issues. So please contact me if anyone would like to RSVP for that event. Lastly, the museum will be closing October 11th, but we will open by appointment if contacted. So if you haven't seen our art gallery show, please contact me, and I will give you a tour. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you for what you've done this year.
Oh, you're welcome.
Any other questions, gentlemen? Aurora? Thank you. Anita Deming. If you all have a copy of Anita's report,
get after everybody?
I really don't have a lot of news administrative-wise as far as what's going on with our changes in people at Extension at this point. I have been told that the DPW is at full staff and should be working on the bathroom again pretty soon, so we're kind of hoping for our handicap bathroom to open up again. And this weekend coming up is our Harvest Festival, and we'd like to encourage everybody to come. Saturday between noon and 5 is going to be the most active part, and if you can get away, we'd love to see you there. And I don't know if you have any questions about anything else, just lists of classes and people that went, or events and things like that.
Any questions for Anita? Mr. McKenna?
I don't have too much, although I wanted to start again with something we talked about last month, and that's the Adirondack Harvest Fest, which is going to be this weekend at the fairgrounds. And I'm just going to give you a little postcard. You'll see it with the schedule on the back. But, you know, we've got a good group of people working together on it, and, you know, certainly some Westport and some folks in Westport. Also Hub on the Hill, Adirondack Farmers Coalition, CATS, our organization, but then also, you know, the county's engaged with DPW, obviously Mike's office, and with public transportation. Getting all of us work together on a program, I think, is really good. So this is going to be the kickoff year. We're already starting to talk about next year, but we certainly encourage everybody to, you know, take a look if you want. Saturday afternoon to Saturday evening will probably be the biggest time. But we're looking really forward to it, and we think it's something that's appropriate. And, you know, there's not many other counties that have the group of farmers that we have now coming to Lake Champlain. So we want to start celebrating that as much as possible is our goal here. So we're really psyched about that. So we encourage everybody to... Yeah, we all want to do that. You all have this already? Yep. All right. All right. I also want to talk about, you know, summer season. We don't have the final numbers through August yet. We don't get those until the end of September. But I came across an article in the Post-Star, I think it was last week, that said we were down more than 10%. I don't know where they got those numbers, but I corrected them a little bit, saying that really our numbers to date are pretty positive. We only have through July at this point, but numbers are tearing up a little bit, it seems. Won't have a full report on that until October, but overall, we're, even with a slow start of this year, being really no snow in the winter, if you all remember, we've exceeded last year's numbers already, and it looks like we're on track to maybe not hit our original projections, but pretty close, so I think that's really good. A couple other things that happened over the past week I'd like to point out is that if you remember, there's an additional Ironman race starting in North Elba next year. It's a half Ironman. It's called the 70.3. Registration for that started Friday at noon, and by 10 p.m. on Friday, they sold out, and that's 3,000. So, you know, that's pretty positive, I think, for us. And again, that's a national type of thing. Same thing I'd just like to mention, too, there was a large conference in our county over last Wednesday through Sunday. It's Anytime Fitness, which is a global fitness firm. We had countries here that we have not ever seen here through all the winter sports. I mean, some of the Middle Eastern countries, and it was pretty incredible. And what happens with them, they're sort of the outdoor lifestyle type folks. You know, certainly most of the states were represented, but what happens with those types of conferences that normally, you know, those people don't come to the Adirondacks, but exposing that type of marketplace to what we've got here, you know, it's going to ripple in the future. So we're pretty positive about that. Also, I wanted to talk a little bit about, you know, there's been a lot of attention recently to over congestion of hikers in certain areas of the Adirondack. So we've been starting to work with Adirondack Mountain Club and DEC, and the next big weekend that it's going to probably be a similar type situation would be the Columbus Day weekend, which is also Canadian holiday. We're going to be setting up a separate URL, Adirondack Hiking Alerts or something to that nature, but working with DEC and Adirondack Mountain Club, we're going to try to come up with a coordinated effort to bring updates on a timely and, half-hour basis type thing using social media and everything else. So that'll be a little bit of an experiment working with all those groups. We think that's probably going to be the way we try to do it in the future. And, I'd just like to point out, our marketing, we don't concentrate on the high peaks. We concentrate on getting people out to other areas, but the high peaks act as a magnet themselves. So that's why we have to sort of deal with it a little bit, because I think it's got the potential to drive the type of media we might not want to drive out there. So we're going to try to coordinate it, and working with those agencies, try to at least get a handle on getting information out so people readily know much easier. And then I guess the final thing is, if you go on to the Whiteface Visitors Bureau Facebook page, so Facebook Whiteface Visitors Bureau, there's a great picture, if you stroll down maybe too, there's a great picture of our chairman, Dan Steck, and the supervisor from Wilmington wearing red noses. Now, are those noses to match your new vehicle?
Yes, it was.
They are. But I encourage everybody to look at that. We're going to try to get that out in the New York Times, I think, that picture. But anyway, that's all I have.
Any questions for Mr. McKenna? Yes, go ahead.
Jim, I want to thank you for putting together the Adirondack Harvest. I think it's a great program that we're going to start. But outside of marketing, is Roos providing any financial support for that?
Yes, we are. We're the only group that has providing financial support over and above the marketing. I think we have budgeted $3,000. Well, actually needed to. She's actually providing $5,000 to $7,000. We have $3,000 budgeted for that. We have $3,000 budgeted for that.
Thank you.
Over and above, and the marketing is a separate line item.
Right.
Yep.
Thank you.
We do. And Anita's got money. I forgot. I'm sorry, Anita. I didn't mention Cornell Cooperative Extension. They're a big partner here, too. I apologize for that, because I was writing the list as they called me up. But it's a pleasure working with Anita, as you all know, and she's really stepped up to the table quite a bit in this program.
Are you recovering quickly?
I know that.
Any other questions for Mr. McKenna? Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Anything else to come before? Yes. Jim. Mr. Moore. Hang around for a minute.
This weekend, I sent out a copy of a memorandum of understanding. You have a copy of that on your desks. Just to give you a little background, a couple of weeks ago, the 5 towns, Newcomb, Minerva, North Hudson, Indian Lake, and Long Lake, convened a meeting in Indian Lake that had a number of representatives from varying organizations, including both Hamilton and Essex counties, the New York State Conservation Council, the New York State Snowmobilers Association, Wildlife, just a large number. There was Chambers of Commerce and so on. The purpose of our gathering at that time was to try to bring together all the groups and stakeholders that might be interested in supporting the 5 towns' proposal for the classification and unit management plan recreational use of the Boreas Ponds tract and the McIntyre tracts. That evolved into discussion of an alliance of this group to go on and support other issues that come before the Adirondack in the Adirondacks. So what we're looking for is additional people to sign on to this memorandum.
And so a resolution of support.
So I'm looking for a resolution from the county, and I would ask that each supervisor take it to their boards and see if we can get town support and disseminate it to local organizations, snowmobile groups and so on, Chambers of Commerce.
So, Ron, you're offering this as a resolution?
I am.
Second. Seconded by Mr. Hannigan. Yes.
We brought this before our board, and we didn't have a full board at the time, so we tabled it. But my board really needs to get more information about this. They asked me to have somebody come and talk to the board about it.
I'd be happy to come and probably could get a few other people, but this just came out.
Well, there was something similar to this with the Boris track.
There may have been a specific to the Boris track, that's correct. This one will take on things like the old Mountain Road in the future, whatever's coming before the Adirondacks Park. That would involve recreation and increased recreational opportunities and access. But I'm happy to come to one of your meetings anytime.
Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock.
I have a board meeting. No.
Anyone else? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
Anything else to come before this body? We're adjourned. Thank you.